Hi everybody, welcome to Dulcimerica. Thanks for joining me. It seems like it's been a long time since I've spoken directly to you after getting off a spring tour and having so much to share with you. But now I've been back home for a little bit, and I want to share with you now something I'll be teaching at the Quarantune Summerfest coming up June 5th through 8th of 2025, saying that for those who are watching this far into the future. And one of the things I'm going to be teaching in a number of classes is this 4 fretbox scale exercise. Now this is a great way of learning how to move up and down the fretboard, because we know as we go up and down the fretboard, the frets begin to get closer and closer together. So what we're doing is we're training our fingers to move together and get used to that different spacing of the frets as we move along. Now, there's a lot of depth to this exercise. We can certainly treat it as something where we're just moving our fingers around. We can also use it as a method of learning how to create scales without running too far up and down the fretboard. And that means, and I call it the 4 fretbox scales for this reason. Let's say, for example, I want to do a G major scale. I could certainly do that from the 3rd fret to the 10th fret. And I won't use the 6.5, I won't use the 8.5 fret. And just linear, straight up the fretboard, play like this. And there is our complete G major scale. But what if I don't want to have to make that much of a move and just want to come across the strings? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up 5 notes, first of all, from G to D. Okay, so there's D up there. G, A, B, C, D. Now, when we're in DAD tuning, this is really interesting stuff because we're tuned in a 1-5-8 configuration. That means the distance between the bass string and the middle string is a 5th. It's a very important number right there. And then we go from this string over to the next string, middle string, to a melody string, and that actually is a distance of a 4th. We call it 1-5-8 because the distance between the root, the bass string, and the melody, the very, very top, is a whole octave, which is really huge in terms of string instruments. So that's an 8 for octave from the bass string, so a 1-5-8 pattern. But the distance between the bass string and the middle string is a 5th. That means that the first note of the scale will be here, wherever you start. And then directly across from it on the middle string will be the 5th note of the scale because it's tuned a 5th apart. So remember, I went all the way up here to D, which is the 5th note of the scale. But what if I told you that you don't have to go all the way up there? You just have to go to the 4th note of the scale, C, and then come back to the fret you started from, the 3rd fret, and then come across to the middle string and then pluck that note. And there's your 5th note, D. And then you can continue the scale playing the same frets that you played on the bass string, but now you'll play them on the middle string. So our entire G major scale can certainly still be played from the 3rd fret to the 10th fret. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and then G the octave. Or we can play it in this configuration of 4 frets in the shape of a box between the 3rd fret and the 6th fret like this. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. How cool is that? Now, that doesn't just apply to G major, it applies to all of the scales that we can play in DAD. So if I go from D major down here, I can go open 1, 2, 3 on the bass string, not using my 1.5 fret, and then go open 1, 2, 3 on the middle string and play the D major scale. D, E, F sharp, G, middle string, A, B, C sharp, D, all without having to run all the way up and down the fretboard. Now sometimes you want to run up and down the fretboard. You're supporting that melody with chords and things like that, but other times you can literally keep your hand in one place and play all the notes of the scale. Meaning, not only do you have all the notes of the scale, you also have all the chords of the scale right under your fingertips. So let's try E minor. Now you'll notice that with the D major scale, I was able to use the open strings. But every other scale above that, you're going to want to use 4 frets altogether. And for E minor, we're just going to, once again, not use the 1.5 fret, and we're going to go like this. So notice I'm using multiple fingers, 2 fingers and the thumb is sliding to catch those last couple of notes. So let's move that up now to F sharp. F sharp minor. Now, before we go any further about this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this handout for you in the comments or in the video description below, because you'll notice that we do have D major, G major, and A major, and those majors are simply what they are at face value. But the minors, the E minor, F sharp, B, these are not just your natural minors. These are modal minors, and they have different notes that are either flattened or not flattened in relationship to the natural minor. So if you were to play the F sharp minor scale this way without making those adjustments, your F sharp minor scale may sound funny compared to somebody playing an F sharp natural minor. So just be aware of that. This is more about playing this as an exercise for the fingers and getting used to that continuity that we can get if we're looking for the next note in a scale or just a melodic phrase. For example, let me see. I'm going to include the 1.5 fret this time. It's not going to be an actual scale. It's going to sound kind of wonky, but I'm going to play 4 frets in a row on the bass string and 4 frets on a row in the middle string. And you can see where, even though it's not an actual scale per se, that the notes still, when you hop over to the middle string, continue right where the other 4 notes left off. So it really helps you to understand that that relationship between the bass string and the middle string is a grouping of 4 frets. And if you're looking for the next note while traveling up the bass string, simply just go up 4 frets, then come over to the middle string and then start where you began on the bass string for that continuity. Let's go to G major again. And now A major. B minor, this could be modal. C sharp, again, this is going to be modal. And then finally our D major octave. So when you take a look at the handout that is in the description, there's a link there to my Patreon page. Don't try to play it for speed. Don't try to play it like it's a challenge. Take your time with it, play it nice and slow, and make your way through each of those scales and just play them ascending, just play them going upwards. And do this maybe twice a day. And what you'll discover is later on, you'll go to do something that maybe was giving you some trouble, and you'll discover that your fingers will work a little bit easier because you've actually programmed the muscle memory for them to be moving across the bass and the middle string pretty much all the way up through the middle section of our fretboard. And that is something that you may not realize how much it'll help you until it starts helping you and you go, oh, that's kind of cool. So I hope this has been helpful to you. Play around with it, give it a shot. And if you're in the present time, May 31st is the last day to register for Quarantine Summerfest. 3 of my workshops are sold out, including the evolutionary exercises. But there are still 5 other workshops that I'm teaching, including 2 for ukulele. And you can get there by going to virtualdulcimerfest.com. There's also 5 nights of concerts. It's going to be a wonderful time, and I hope to see you there. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll see you soon.
20, 18, 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2.